Welcome in everybody to Big Ten Football and Beyond on the Landry Football Podcast Network. As we give a scout's eye view on Week 3 in the Big Ten. A reminder: you can get even more detailed news, notes, nuggets, film room breakdowns from all the games this weekend, all the previews, all the reviews. We got it all for you at LandryFootball.com. So make sure that you take advantage of the football season sale that we've got going on. Try it out for a month. We've got all the conferences, all of college football, the NFL. We've got it all for you. Soup to nuts football, LandryFootball.com. Do us a favor, sign up for Off the Hook Sports YouTube channel, which is where you can catch this podcast, this show, as well as sign up for the Landry Football Podcast Network. You can get all of the football shows that I do on the network. If you're just a fan of the Big Ten or the SEC, sign up for Big Ten Football and Beyond or SEC Football and Beyond, whatever is your pleasure. We got you covered. So it was an interesting week. Ohio State blasted past Toledo. The biggest news, I guess, was the return of Jackson Smith and Njigba, and Julian Fleming played well. The biggest news coming from Michigan's win over Connecticut is that Cade McNamara is going to miss a few weeks with an injury. J.J. McCarthy was already trending as a starter, so it's clearly his job. It's kind of played out that way. It took a game-tying TD drive and a two-point conversion, but Indiana survived a scare against Western Kentucky. We warned you that game was going to be close over at Landry Football. Connor Bazelak threw 55 times to 364 yards and 2 touchdowns for the Hoosiers. Rutgers is 3-0 for the first time for the second straight year. And it didn't play very well against Temple. Temple did play hard, play well. Greg Schimmel, the all-time winningest coach in Rutgers history, passing Frank Burns, good old friend there. Graham Mertz played pretty well as Wisconsin rolled past New Mexico State. Nebraska got rolled, speaking of rolled, against Oklahoma and Mickey Joseph's debut. Purdue lost a heartbreaker to Syracuse. But Charlie Jones, really good. The Iowa transfer had 11 catches and a touchdown. He looked really, really good. You might think of Maryland as an aired-out team, but with the run game, that was the real key here in their win over SMU. A trip to Michigan is up next. Let's take a look at a little bit more detail. As again, Syracuse beat Purdue 32-29. I thought it was the most intriguing game of the weekend in the Big Ten involving a Big Ten team. Purdue took the lead with just over 50 seconds left, but they melted down with 7 penalties. Peyton Durham crossed the end zone. Syracuse were really they're playing well, and boy, they really responded late in the game. Penalty aside, it was the Orange struggled to run the ball, and Garrett Schrader didn't play as well, but they made a couple of throws late, particularly Arondé Gadsden with the game on the line. Tough loss for Purdue, no doubt about it. A game they felt like they could have stolen from Syracuse. Ohio State, as we mentioned, blew out Toledo 77-21. The offense was unstoppable. It would have been interesting to see, a little bit more resistance from Toledo, but they couldn't even be competitive in this game. Same thing for Michigan, 59-0 win over Connecticut. Connecticut's bad football team. I'm curious to see Blake Corum, the defense, J.J. McCarthy, how they play at home, opening Big Ten play against Maryland. Nebraska, as we mentioned, it's just awful. The offensive line play was a disaster. They are poor fundamentally. Lots of just bad news. They need a complete change. It is amazing to think about that they need a culture change and a remake after Scott Frost. We did this. They did this after Bill Callahan, to some degree under Mike Riley. But this is it's gotten ugly, and I think it's going to get uglier as the season goes along. As they played with some emotion early, got an early lead, that's all it took. Oklahoma just controlled the game from there. Michigan State, we said it would be rough going out to Seattle off Lake Washington. Washington received the ball to open the game, and they opened the game with a score during the first drive. Michael Penix was very fluid, moving the team down the field. Jalen McMillan played very well. Jalen Polk got an 8-yard touchdown. it was really more of a dominant win, not a 39-28 feeling win. Michigan State came back. I think Washington took their foot off the gas. And it was to me, Michigan State can't cover against passing teams, and I thought Washington exploited that this weekend. We kind of hinted that might take place. Penn State blew out Auburn. Winning against an SEC team on the road is impressive. They were the favorite in this game, but to blow them out, Auburn had no answer. Auburn has no passing attack. Penn State rolled. Credit them. They were ready to play, even though Auburn's not very good. They deserve a lot of credit. Oh, what a disappointing loss for Northwestern. 31-24 to Southern Illinois. Losing to an 0-2 FCS team is really bad. Doesn't that make Nebraska look even worse? And they fell in ugly fashion, too. We talk a lot about how well coached these teams at Northwestern are. They're not very well coached this year. They've got an offensive line that could have pounded the ball against Southern Illinois. They couldn't do anything. They just were really not very good. Indiana, as we mentioned, good win against Western Kentucky. That's a better win than people might know. They looked awful for most of the game, quite frankly, but they played well down the stretch. Charlie Campbell's 51-yard field goal, it was the difference. It looked like Western Kentucky was going to get them quite a few times in this game, but they got it done. Rutgers wasn't that impressive at all against Temple, but they got a win. Minnesota, as we said they would, dominated Colorado. They look like the best team right now in the West. They look like the only team right now in the West with a pulse. Iowa can't score, although they did against Nevada. More on that later. Wisconsin is inconsistent. Minnesota looks really good. Mohamed Ibrahim is outstanding, rushed for 100 yards or more every time. 12 straight game, 3 touchdowns. They're a physical, pounded team, better than anybody in the Big Ten West at this point. In fact, they're the most physical-looking run team in the Big Ten right now, period. They rushed for 202 yards, averaged 8.8 yards a carry against a bad Colorado team. I know it, but I'm curious to see what they do in Big Ten play. Wisconsin takes care of business, as I mentioned, against New Mexico State, 66-7. Iowa, we said they maybe scored 20 or more points against Nevada. They did, 27-0. But the passing game came alive. Spencer Petras looked like he had a little life. It was Nevada, so don't get overly excited. Let's see what they can do. This Maryland team, I think they're going to get challenged going on the road to Michigan this week. More on that later in our preview show on Big Ten football and beyond. But Maryland 34-27. They look a little dangerous here. I thought they did a good job with the run game, and that was the key. They made a couple of key plays defensively to at least slow down SMU when they needed to do it. So, look, here's the thing. It's Ohio State, and I think there's a gap. They're the best team in the league right now. They've got September 24th at Wisconsin. Michigan, as we mentioned, has got Maryland this week. They have not played the type of schedule that's going to warrant real excitement, but they've done a good job. Nice win by Penn State. A lot of credit. They've got Central Michigan this week. Don't have a letdown. I'm excited about Minnesota going to Michigan State. I want to see how Michigan State responds. I want to see how Minnesota, can run the football on them, how well they're able to do that. Clear leader in the clubhouse in the West. We'll see what they can do. And Michigan State, I would put next. Again, same thing. Let's see, what they can do defensively. Can they defend the run, and will they force Minnesota through the air? And if that's the case, Minnesota thrown against his secondary, like the matchup, early lean there with Minnesota, but we'll see as the week develops. Wisconsin, as we mentioned, goes to Ohio State. We'll see how ready they are for that matchup. Methinks not too much. Again, Maryland I would put right next at 7, going to Michigan. Purdue, it's got Florida Atlantic. Certainly will be favored. We'll see what happens, how they can respond. Rutgers plays Iowa. We'll see if they can mount any threat to them. They are not moving the football very well against Iowa's defense. This is going to be really tough. I go Indiana next. They go to Cincinnati, and they're starting to play pretty well. Iowa, look, the loss to Iowa State, the inability to score up except for against Nevada. I want to see them begin to do it in the conference, improve their offense before they can go up. Illinois had the bye. They go to Chattanooga on Thursday. We'll kind of see. Northwestern, you got to move them down with that loss to Southern Illinois. Really, really bad. This is a bad looking outfit right now. The worst looking outfit though is in Lincoln, Nebraska. They get Indiana. Rough start for them. So that's a look at how things shaped up in the Big Ten. A reminder to sign up for Off the Hook Sports YouTube channel and sign up for the Landry Football Podcast Network, that you can get all of our shows. If you're a fan of the Big Ten, sign up for Big Ten Football and Beyond, where you sign up for your podcast. If you're an SEC fan, sign up for SEC Football and Beyond. Big 12, Pac-12, Big 12, Pac-12, ACC, same thing. If you sign up with the Landry Football Podcast Network, you can get them all. What you also can get is go to the LandryFootball.com and get the detailed film room analysis on the college and pro game like no other. We'll break down the games. We'll analyze how things have looked in the film room to prepare you for the game. We will give you a recap after we take a look at the games and give you a feel for why things happen. So we give you a coaching and scouting perspective on with my background as now going on 40 years as an NFL scout, a college and NFL coach and recruiting coordinator prior to that. We give you a look. If it involves players, teams, coaches, schemes on the college and NFL level, we give you a coaching and scouting perspective that you can't get anywhere else. So we think it's a great opportunity. Check out the football season sale over at LandryFootball.com. That's the best deal we got going. If you want to just try it out for a month, do that as well. But make sure you join us for all the other conference breakdowns as we work through them, as well as all our NFL stuff, and check out all the detailed rankings and analysis over at LandryFootball.com. We'll see you there. Talk to you next time.